Shattered promises. Maya Wilson stood frozen in the middle of their shared apartment, her fingers clutching the small potted orchid she'd nurtured back from near death. Julian Rhodes paced before her, his designer shoes clicking against the hardwood floors with each determined step. "I just don't see where this is going, Maya," Julian said, running a hand through his meticulously styled hair. "You spend your days talking to plants in a university greenhouse while I'm meeting with future Supreme Court justices." "Those plants might save lives someday," Maya replied softly, her voice barely audible over the rain tapping against the windows. "The research we're doing on medicinal properties in rare flora could what? Make you department head someday?" Julian laughed, the sound sharp enough to make Maya wince. "I'm being considered for junior partner at 32. Do you know how unprecedented that is?" Maya set the orchid down on the coffee table they'd picked out together last spring. The diamond ring on her finger caught the light, momentarily blinding her. 3 years of engagement, 5 years together, and somehow she'd never noticed how little he valued her work. "I thought we were building a life based on mutual respect," she said, straightening her shoulders. "I do respect you," Julian insisted, his tone softening strategically. "But you have to admit, introducing my fiancée as the plant girl at firm dinners lacks a certain prestige." The words hit Maya like physical blows. All those evenings she'd spent feeling inadequate among his colleagues suddenly made sense. She'd been a quaint curiosity to them, to him. "The engagement party is this weekend," Julian continued, checking his watch. "Cassandra from Client Relations has been helping with arrangements. She understands the importance of appearances." Maya's gaze drifted to her phone, where 3 missed calls from her research partner glowed. They'd made a breakthrough with a rare flowering vine that showed promising results against antibiotic-resistant infections. That mattered. That was real. "There won't be an engagement party," she said finally, sliding the ring from her finger. "Not when you're clearly more engaged to your image than to me." Julian's expression shifted from confusion to disbelief. "You're overreacting. This is about our future." "No, this is about your future, which apparently doesn't have room for me unless I fit into some prescribed role." Maya placed the ring on the table beside the orchid. "I won't apologize for loving my work or for not being impressive enough for your colleagues." The next morning spread through their social circle like wildfire. Julian's version, that Maya lacked ambition and couldn't handle the demands of his lifestyle, became the accepted narrative. At brunch with their mutual friends, Maya sat silently as sympathetic glances were directed at Julian, not her. "He needs someone who can keep up," whispered Olivia, who had once been Maya's college roommate. 2 weeks later, Julian appeared at a charity gala with Cassandra Winters, the polished client relations executive, on his arm. Photos circulated showing them laughing together, her credentials and connections noted approvingly by their social circle. Maya packed her research, her plants, and her broken heart. The prestigious Thompson Grant for Botanical Research had been awarded to a small coastal conservation center. It wasn't prestigious enough for Julian's world, but it was exactly what Maya needed. A fresh start where her passion for botanical science would be valued, not dismissed. As she loaded the last box into her car, her research partner Daniel handed her the orchid. "This one's special," he said with a gentle smile. "It survived against all odds. Reminded me of someone I know." Maya nodded, carefully securing the plant in her passenger seat. Sometimes, the most beautiful growth happens after being cut back to almost nothing. Seeds of change. The coastal town of Harborview embraced Maya like an old friend. 6 months after leaving Julian and the suffocating social circle that came with him, she found herself thriving in ways she'd never imagined. The Thompson Conservation Center sat perched on a cliff overlooking the Pacific, its greenhouse domes gleaming in the morning sun, as Maya made her daily walk along the shore to work. "Morning, Dr. Wilson," called Ellie, the undergraduate intern who had become Maya's eager shadow. "The vertical garden systems are showing amazing nitrogen fixation rates." Maya smiled, brushing sand from her hiking boots before entering the main research facility. Her experimental urban gardening systems, designed to grow food in minimal space with reduced water consumption, had become the center's flagship project. What Julian had dismissed as playing with plants was now being considered for implementation in drought-affected communities around the world. The time-lapse footage is rendering now, Ellie continued, practically bouncing with excitement. And that engineer from Sustainable Futures is coming today to discuss the irrigation system integration. Maya nodded, trying to ignore the flutter of nervousness. Sustainable Futures was the environmental engineering firm that had offered to partner on scaling her designs. Their collaboration could turn her research into practical solutions for food insecurity. Dr. Wilson? A deep voice with a subtle Japanese accent made Maya turn. Standing in the doorway was a man about her age, dressed simply in dark jeans and a navy button-down with rolled sleeves. I'm Theo Nakamura from Sustainable Futures. Maya extended her hand, immediately noting his firm but gentle handshake. Please, call me Maya. Only if you call me Theo, he replied with a warm smile that reached his thoughtful brown eyes. I've been reviewing your water conservation system designs. They're brilliant, especially the capillary mat modification for brackish water. For the first time in months, Maya felt herself blush. Not from embarrassment, but from the genuine professional respect in his voice. Would you like to see the prototypes? She offered, leading him toward the experimental greenhouse. The day passed in a blur of technical discussions, shared ideas, and unexpected laughter. Theo's engineering perspective complemented Maya's botanical knowledge perfectly. By afternoon, they'd sketched modifications that could increase efficiency by nearly 30%. Most engineers try to force nature to conform to their designs, Maya observed as they sat on the center's deck, sharing a late lunch of locally caught fish. You work with natural systems instead. Theo gazed out at the ocean. My grandmother was a traditional Japanese gardener. She taught me that true innovation comes from understanding the natural world, not conquering it. He turned to Maya with curiosity. What brought you to Harborview? Your credentials could have taken you anywhere. The question hung between them, intimate yet professional. Maya found herself telling Theo about Julian, about feeling diminished in a relationship that should have elevated her. I needed somewhere I could grow without being overshadowed, she concluded simply. Theo nodded, understanding in his eyes. Sometimes we need to be transplanted to realize our full potential. He gestured toward her experimental gardens. Look what happened when you were. In the weeks that followed, Theo became a regular at the conservation center. Their professional collaboration evolved into friendship, hiking along coastal trails, sharing meals at local restaurants, discussing books over coffee at the Harborside Cafe. Unlike Julian's world of power dynamics and social positioning, time with Theo felt balanced, natural. 3 months into their partnership, a storm hit the coast with unexpected ferocity. Maya drove to the center at midnight, worried about the experimental gardens. She found Theo already there, securing the greenhouse vents. Together they worked through the night, saving months of research from destruction. As dawn broke, revealing the storm's retreat and their successful efforts, Theo gently tucked a strand of Maya's wind-blown hair behind her ear. I've never met anyone who cares this deeply about their work, he said softly. It's beautiful to witness. The simple compliment, so different from Julian's backhanded remarks about her cute little plants, warmed Maya from within. In the soft morning light, with rain-spattered clothes and exhaustion etched on their faces, something new began to take root between them, something neither had been looking for, but both recognized as precious. That evening, the local community held an impromptu gathering to assess storm damage. As Maya described how vulnerable coastal ecosystems could be strengthened against future storms, she caught Theo watching her with unmistakable admiration. For the first time since leaving the city, she realized she was exactly where she belonged, and possibly with exactly who she belonged with. Growing roots. You're telling me people actually lined up to learn about composting? Maya laughed, her feet dangling from the community center's stage where she and Theo were dismantling their demonstration setup. Not just lined up, they took notes. Theo replied, his eyes crinkling at the corners. You have a gift for making the science accessible. 9 months into her new life in Harborview, Maya had become something of a local celebrity. Her urban gardening workshops drew crowds from neighboring communities, and the mayor had just approved funding to implement her vertical garden systems in the town's public spaces. We make a good team, Maya said, gathering her notes. Their fingers brushed as Theo handed her a stack of diagrams, and neither pulled away immediately. The subtle electricity between them had been building steadily since the night of the storm. Professional lunches had evolved into dinners that stretched late into the evening. Weekend hikes now ended with sunset picnics on the beach, yet neither had crossed the invisible line from friendship to something more. Speaking of teams, Theo said, pulling an envelope from his backpack, the Environmental Innovation Summit in San Francisco next month. Sustainable Futures nominated our joint project as a finalist. Maya's eyes widened as she scanned the invitation. This is huge, Theo. These are the people who can fund global implementation. I know, he replied, a hint of nervousness in his voice. And there's something else. It's being held at the Westbrook Hotel. Maya froze. The Westbrook was Julian's family's flagship luxury property. The chances of running into him or someone from their former social circle were high. You don't have to go, Theo said gently, reading her expression. I can present our work alone. Maya looked at Theo, really looked at him. In his patient eyes, she saw something Julian had never offered: partnership rather than possession, support rather than expectation. No, she decided firmly. This is our project. We'll present it together. That evening, Theo invited Maya to dinner at his modest beachfront cottage. She arrived to find the deck transformed. Twinkling lights strung overhead, the table set with wildflowers from the Conservation Center's gardens. What's all this? She asked, her heart quickening. A celebration, Theo replied, pulling out her chair, of new beginnings. Over locally harvested seafood and wine from a nearby vineyard, they talked about everything except work. Childhood memories, favorite books, dreams they'd never shared with anyone else. As night fell and stars appeared above the ocean, Theo moved his chair beside hers. When I first met you, he said quietly, I was impressed by your brilliance. But knowing you these past months, he took her hand. It's your heart that amazes me most. Maya felt tears prick her eyes. With Julian, she'd always felt she needed to be more ambitious, more sophisticated, more impressive. With Theo, she simply needed to be herself. I wasn't looking for this, she whispered, leaning toward him. Neither was I, Theo replied, closing the distance between them. Their first kiss tasted of wine and possibility. His hands cradled her face with reverence, as though she were as precious as the rare botanical specimens she protected. When they finally drew apart, both were smiling. The weeks that followed passed in a haze of joy. Their professional synergy only deepened with their personal connection. By day, they finalized their presentation for the summit. By night, they discovered each other with the same curiosity and wonder they brought to their research. 3 days before they were due to leave for San Francisco, Maya received an email that made her stomach drop. The summit's opening reception would be hosted by Julian's sister, Victoria Rhodes, the hotel's marketing director. A photo showed the organizing committee, with Julian himself front and center as the hotel's legal representative. We could still back out, Theo suggested when she showed him the email, his arm warm around her shoulders. Maya leaned into his embrace, drawing strength from his steadiness. No, I'm not the same person who left the city a year ago. I won't hide from my past anymore. That night, as they lay tangled in Theo's sheets, the moonlight streaming through the windows, Maya traced the contours of his face. Thank you, she whispered. For what? Theo asked, pressing a kiss to her palm. For seeing me, the real me, not who you wanted me to be or who you thought I should become. Theo pulled her closer, his heartbeat steady against hers. That's not something to thank me for. It's simply love. The word hung in the air between them, new yet somehow familiar. Maya smiled in the darkness, realizing that for the first time in her life, she felt completely, authentically seen and still completely, unconditionally loved. As they drifted to sleep, the anxieties about facing Julian receded. Whatever happened in San Francisco, she was no longer the woman whose worth depended on others' approval. She had found her place, her purpose, and a partner who valued her exactly as she was. The reunion. The Westbrook Hotel glittered like a jewel box in the San Francisco twilight. Maya smoothed the emerald silk of her dress, a far cry from the practical field clothes she now wore daily, and tried to calm her racing heart. "Ready?" Theo asked, offering his arm. In his charcoal suit and blue tie that matched the ocean near their home, he looked both handsome and completely himself. "As I'll ever be," Maya replied with a nervous smile. They entered the grand ballroom where the Environmental Innovation Summit's opening gala was already underway. Crystal chandeliers cast a warm glow over the crowd of environmental scientists, tech entrepreneurs, and financial backers. Their project display stood proudly in the exhibition area, surrounded by interested attendees. "Maya Wilson? Is that really you?" Maya turned to find Olivia Chandler, her former college roommate who had sided with Julian after their breakup. Olivia's eyes widened as she took in Maya's transformation, not just her appearance, but the confident set of her shoulders. "It's me," Maya confirmed with a genuine smile. "How have you been, Olivia?" "Working in corporate sustainability now," Olivia replied, eyeing Theo curiously. "And you're a finalist for the innovation grant?" "Yes, this is my partner, Theo Nakamura," Maya said proudly. "Our urban gardening systems have shown promising results in drought-prone communities." Olivia nodded, clearly reassessing everything she thought she knew about Maya. "Julian mentioned you'd moved to some small town. He didn't mention this." As if summoned by his name, Julian appeared beside Olivia, champagne flute in hand. He froze mid-sip when he spotted Maya, his practiced smile faltering. "Maya," he managed finally. "What a surprise." The year and a half since they'd last seen each other had changed Julian too. Subtle silver at his temples, new lines around his eyes suggesting the junior partnership came with a price. "Julian," Maya acknowledged calmly. "Congratulations on the partnership." He nodded, his gaze shifting to Theo, then back to Maya. "You're here for—" "Our project is a finalist for the implementation grant," Theo explained, extending his hand. "Theo Nakamura, Environmental Engineering." Julian shook his hand automatically, professional training overriding his evident discomfort. "Julian Rhodes, Hotel Council." An awkward silence followed, broken when Cassandra Winters appeared at Julian's side. Maya recognized Julian's girlfriend from social media, tall, impeccably styled, her smile practiced for cameras. "There you are, darling," Cassandra said, glancing curiously at Maya and Theo. "Victoria needs you to approve something for tomorrow's presentation." "Of course," Julian replied, seeming relieved for the escape. "Maya, it was unexpected to see you. Good luck with your project." As they walked away, Maya released a breath she hadn't realized she was holding. Theo squeezed her hand gently. "You okay?" he asked. Before Maya could answer, an elegant older woman approached them. "Dr. Wilson?" "Dr. Nakamura?" "I'm Elena Vasquez, head of the grant committee. Your presentation materials are impressive. I'd love to hear more about your community implementation strategies." For the next hour, Maya and Theo were surrounded by genuinely interested professionals. Their passion for their work shone through every explanation, every answer. Across the room, Maya occasionally caught Julian watching them, his expression unreadable. During dinner, Maya and Theo were seated at a table with several influential environmental organizations. As Maya described how their systems had transformed food security for the coastal town's lower-income neighborhoods, applause broke out at their table. "This is exactly the kind of practical innovation we need," declared the director of Global Greening Initiative. "Solutions that work for real communities." From the corner of her eye, Maya saw Julian lean over to whisper something to Cassandra, who frowned in response. Their body language suggested tension, nothing like the easy synchronicity she shared with Theo. After dinner, as attendees mingled during coffee service, Julian approached Maya at the refreshment table. "Your project," he said without preamble. "It's actually impressive." Maya added cream to her coffee, taking her time. "Thank you. Though I was doing the same work when we were together. You just never bothered to understand it." Julian flinched slightly. "I deserved that." He glanced over at Theo, who was deep in conversation with a sustainable agriculture expert. "He seems good for you." "He is," Maya agreed. But more importantly, I'm good for myself now. Full-bloom morning sunlight streamed through the summit venue's windows as Maya and Theo prepared for their presentation. The finalists would each have 15 minutes to convince the grant committee their innovation deserved the million-dollar implementation funding. Nervous? Theo asked, adjusting the sustainable bamboo display that showcased their miniature garden system. Strangely, no, Maya replied. This feels right. Like everything has led to this moment. The audience filled quickly with environmental experts, investors, and media. Maya spotted Julian and Victoria Rhodes taking seats in the back row, alongside several other hotel executives. Cassandra was noticeably absent. When their turn came, Maya and Theo moved to the stage with the easy coordination of partners who trusted each other completely. Their presentation flowed seamlessly, Maya explaining the botanical science while Theo detailed the engineering innovations. What began as a small-town solution, Maya concluded, could transform urban food security globally. With your support, communities worldwide could grow nutritious food with minimal water in spaces previously thought unusable. The applause was immediate and enthusiastic. During the question period, Maya fielded complex scientific inquiries with confidence that would have astonished her former self. When a skeptical investor questioned the scalability, Theo jumped in with data from their community implementations. "We don't just believe this works," he said passionately. "We've seen it work. And so have the families who now have fresh produce where none grew before." As they returned to their seats, Maya caught Julian's gaze. He nodded once, a gesture that somehow contained both acknowledgement and apology. The judges deliberated through lunch while attendees networked. Maya and Theo found themselves surrounded by representatives from organizations eager to implement their systems, regardless of the competition outcome. "Dr. Wilson?" Maya turned to find Victoria Rhodes beside her, elegant in a tailored suit that screamed old money. "Ms. Rhodes," Maya acknowledged cautiously, "I wanted to let you know the Westbrook Hotel Group is launching a sustainability initiative next quarter. Your urban gardening systems would be perfect for our properties." Victoria handed Maya her business card. "My brother speaks highly of your scientific credentials." Maya accepted the card, surprised. "Thank you. I'll be in touch after the summit." Victoria hesitated, then added more quietly, "Julian made a mistake, you know. He realizes that now." Before Maya could respond, the summit director called everyone back to their seats for the announcement. Theo took Maya's hand as they settled in, a silent reminder that whatever happened next, they faced it together. "After careful consideration," the director began, "the committee has selected this year's implementation grant recipient, the Urban Resilience Project by Drs. Maya Wilson and Theo Nakamura." The room erupted in applause as Maya and Theo embraced, momentarily forgetting the crowded auditorium. They made their way to the stage in a daze of joy and vindication. "This grant will allow us to implement systems in 3 drought-affected regions internationally," Maya explained to the audience, her voice steady with purpose. "But this is just the beginning of what's possible when we work with nature instead of against it." The celebration continued into the evening, with a reception hosted by the summit organizers. Maya and Theo moved through the crowd accepting congratulations, their fingers intertwined. "I have something for you," Theo said quietly, guiding Maya to a quiet corner of the terrace overlooking the bay. From his pocket, he produced a small box containing a pendant, a perfect silver replica of the rare orchid Maya had carried with her from her old life. "You once told me this plant survived against impossible odds," Theo said, fastening the necklace around her neck. "Just like you. Just like us." Maya blinked back tears, touching the pendant where it rested against her collarbone. "It's beautiful." "Maya." Julian's voice interrupted their moment. He stood awkwardly at the terrace entrance. "Could I speak with you?" "Just briefly." Theo squeezed her hand reassuringly. "I'll get us some champagne." Once they were alone, Julian exhaled heavily. "Congratulations. You deserve the win." "Thank you," Maya said simply. "Cassandra and I ended things last night," he continued, looking out over the city lights. "She said I was too focused on appearances, not substance." He laughed humorlessly. Apparently, I haven't changed as much as I thought. Maya felt a surprising flash of compassion for the man she'd once planned to marry. Change takes time, Julian. And honesty with yourself. You've found both, it seems. He nodded toward Theo, who was chatting with Elena Vasquez near the bar. He sees you in a way I never did. Yes, Maya agreed. But more importantly, I see myself clearly now. Julian nodded, acceptance in his eyes. The pharmaceutical company I mentioned, they're serious about your research. It could help a lot of people. I'll take the meeting, Maya promised. Professional courtesy. They shared a small smile at the phrase, an acknowledgement of the bridge neither wanted to burn completely. As Julian walked away, Theo returned with 2 champagne flutes. Everything okay? Maya accepted her glass, watching her pass disappear back into the reception. Everything is perfect, actually. Later that night, in their hotel room high above the city, Maya stood by the window, gazing at the stars barely visible through San Francisco's light pollution. Theo wrapped his arms around her from behind, resting his chin on her shoulder. "What are you thinking?" he asked softly. "That I'm grateful," she replied. "Even for the heartbreak. It led me to Harborview, to our work, to you." Theo turned her gently to face him, his eyes serious. "Move in with me? Not just professionally, but—" "Yes," Maya interrupted, her heart full to bursting. "Yes to that, and to whatever comes next." As their lips met, Maya realized that true growth happened exactly as it did in her beloved gardens, through seasons of dormancy and bloom, through storms and sunshine. The life she and Theo were building together wasn't about impressing others or meeting external expectations. It was about nurturing what mattered, rooting deeply in fertile soil, and reaching always toward the light. In the morning, they would return to their coastal town with the grant that would expand their work globally. But tonight, wrapped in each other's arms, Maya knew she had already found the rarest bloom of all, a love that didn't diminish her, but helped her grow into her fullest self.